Watch this exchange between the ranking Democrat and Ohio Republican Jim Jordan.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not exaggerating when I say that you have called before you two witnesses who pose a direct threat to people who oppose them. It's funny when people have to go through that. Exactly. This is unacceptable. I'm ready for it. I don't know if a lot of other people are. But just as it was unacceptable for Kevin McCarthy to provide 41,000 hours of sensitive security footage to a biased talking head in an effort to rewrite what happened on January 6th. This is a new Republican playbook, apparently. Risk American safety and security to score political points.
The gentlelady's words should be struck. We do not accuse witnesses of threatening others. That is out of line and outside the rules of this committee.
That, and I can have an opinion.
You don't get to determine what's struck down.
Well, you do get an opening statement, and it's
and
about,
so let
it's
me
about
finish.
over.
The committee will suspend.
We know this is because at the first hearing, the chairman claimed that big government and big tech colluded to shape and mold the narrative and suppress information and censor Americans. This is a false narrative. We're engaging in false narratives here, and we are going to tell the truth. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. I would just point out the consent decree was in our report. We offered your staff also the opportunity to review the FTC letters. You have not come over to review those letters. Third, the idea that I believe both of these individuals who are getting ready to testify, I believe they're both Democrats. The idea that two journalists who happen to be Democrats—
Did you not give that offer at 8 o'clock last night?
I'm talking now. Your time was ended.
Neither of us are in time.
I don't think they're here to help us politically. I think they're here to tell us the truth. And oh, by the way, the first FTC letter to Twitter after the first set of Twitter files, the very first question was, who are the journalists you're talking to? And you guys don't care. You don't care.
You don't want the 2011
people to see.
consent decree?
You don't want the American people to see what happened, the full video, transparency. You don't want that, and you don't want two journalists who have been named personally by the Biden administration, FTC, in a letter.
The Biden administration.
And you're saying they're here to help us. They're here to tell their story. And frankly, I think they're brave individuals for being willing to come after they've been named in a letter from the Biden FTC.
Is this your question, Tom, now?
No, I'm responding to your ridiculous statements you made in your opening statement.
Okay, well, let's get on with it.
Oh, now we want to get on with it. So you can say all the things you want. And I
did in my opening statement, as well as you had an opening statement. You said what you needed to say in your opening statement, and I, as the ranking member, have used my time.
Without objection, all other opening statements will be included in the record. We will introduce today's witness, Matt Taibbi.
Now, about all these conservative talking heads to which the ranking member alluded.
So the truth is, we want to focus on protecting the First Amendment. Mr. Schellenberger, are you a Republican?
No, I'm not.
You got any, pro-Trump bumper stickers on your car?
I voted for Biden.
Voted for Biden. You don't have any MAGA hats laying around your house, right?
I do not.
Yeah, but you said earlier, both you and Mr. Taibbi said this is the most chilling thing you've ever seen as journalists. Mr. Taibbi, the same thing. You're not a Republican either, right?
No, I'm not.
You didn't vote for. This is about protecting the First Amendment. Mr. Taibbi, I want to read from your Twitter file number 9. You say this: after weeks of Twitter files, the Bureau issued a statement Wednesday, referring to the FBI. Here's what the FBI said: it is unfortunate that conspiracy theorists and others are feeding the American public misinformation with the sole purpose of attempting to discredit the agency. You then follow up, and this is why I think you're an award-winning author, you then follow up, they must think we're unambitious if our sole aim is to discredit the FBI. After all, a whole range of government agencies discredit themselves in the Twitter files. And then you go on to, in this particular Twitter file, to talk about what Mr. Bishop was just talking about, the GEC at the State Department. You talk about the CIA. You talk about the DOD. You talk about the FBI. You talk about the DHS. You talk about the Foreign Intelligence Task Force, which is a combination of all these. But there was one agency you didn't mention, because you didn't know at the time. One agency, you got almost the whole alphabet, but you didn't mention one agency, the FTC. Because you know about them now.
Yes, we do.
You know about them now in an up-close and personal way. You didn't know then, but you do know now. December 2nd, as I said earlier, December 2nd, the first Twitter file comes out, Mr. Taibbi. And I think there are 5 others, including the ones from Mr. Schellenberger. December 13th, the very first letter that the FTC sends to Twitter after the Twitter files, 11 days after the first Twitter file. There have been 5 of them come out. The FTC's first demand in that first letter after the Twitter files come out is identify all journalists, I'm quoting, identify all journalists and other members of the media to whom Twitter worked with. You find that scary, Mr. Taibbi, that you got a federal government agency asking a private company, who in the press are you talking with?
Yeah, I do find it scary. I think it's none of the government's business which journalists a private company talks to and why. I think every journalist should be concerned about that, and the absence of interest in that issue by my fellow colleagues in the mainstream media is an indication of how low the business has sunk. There was once a real esprit de corps and camaraderie within media. Whenever one of us was gone after, we all kind of rose to the challenge and supported.
Used to be.
Yeah.
Used to be the case.
That is gone now. We don't protect one another.
You know what else used to happen? Democrats used to care about protecting First Amendment free speech rights, too. Now it's like, okay, if you're attacking, and I said this on the House floor, I said, don't think they won't come for you. Oh, the big tech, big media, cancel culture, they may come for Republicans and conservatives now, but the mob is never satisfied. They will keep coming. Mr. Schellenberger, you know who the chair of the FTC is?
Not personally.
Lina Khan. Lina Khan. You know who she used to work for?
My understanding is the Judiciary Committee?
Yeah, she's worked for these folks. The same folks have been attacking you today. Same folks. Chair of the FTC. Worked for them. Here's what they said. Here's what she said in a letter where they ask about who these journalists... Again, they named four journalists by name. You were two of the four. As I said before, I think it's frankly courageous and brave of you to show up today when you know the federal government's got an eye on you personally. Here's what they asked for in that letter. Any credentialing or background check Twitter has done on journalists. Now think about that. The federal government is saying, we want you to do a background check on members of the press. Freedom of the press mentioned in the First Amendment. And they're doing they want Twitter to do a background check on you before they can talk to you in America. The FTC, led by Lina Khan, who used to work for these guys, is asking that question. Now we know. Now we all know why. You guys said at the outset, this is the most chilling story. And you guys are New York Times bestsellers, award-winning journalists. But in all your time in the journalism field, this issue, most important. And how this, I think, what'd you call it, Mr. Schellenberg, this complex, what'd you call it, the
censorship industrial complex.
Totally. This web of censorship, big government, big tech, NGOs, all this web of censorship that Mr. Bishop was getting into in his line of questioning. That's what this committee is going to get to. And that's not right or left. This is just right or wrong. This is wrong. We know it's wrong, and it's about protecting the First Amendment.
What's that? A pair of my slippers? Indeedy do. These, of course, are beautiful tan. They come in different colors. And there is another style, just in case you don't like that one. And this is the brand new MyPillow 2.0. You've never slept on anything so comfortable. The MyPillow was amazing. The MyPillow 2.0, even more amazing. Call the number on your screen or go to mypillow.com, promo code ELDER. And of course, this is the 6-pack pillows, towels that work. Towels that actually absorb water. Have you noticed you get these towels that look good, feel good, even smell good, but they don't absorb the water? These do. Over 100 products. Call the number on your screen or go to mypillow.com, promo code ELDER. Finally, this is the Giza Dream Bedsheet. Giza is in Egypt where the finest cotton can be found. Mine is in white because, after all, I am the black face of white supremacy, but you're not. You may want a different color. And of course, because beds come in different sizes, the sheets come in different sizes. All you have to do is call the number on your screen or go to mypillow.com, promo code ELDER. That's mypillow.com, promo code ELDER. I remember when Maxine Waters threatened to socialize or nationalize the oil and gas business. Do you?
I can guarantee to the American people, because of the inaction of the United States Congress ever increasing prices unless the demand comes down, and the $5 will look like a very low price in the years to come if we are prohibited from finding new reserves, new opportunities to increase supplies.
And guess what this liberal would be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing, would be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
Clean up on aisle 6.
Now, we can go around and around in circles about trying to talk about and defining socialism, but at its core, I was intrigued by an op-ed that I saw not too long ago by a Democrat from Cuba commenting on one of our colleagues, an avowed socialist, and essentially pointing out the extent to which democratic socialism is a lot like the system my family fled, except its proponents promised to be nicer when seizing your business. And that's the truth. That's the truth here. And so we can talk about these terms as if they don't matter, but they do. They do matter. They're actually at the core of who we are. I've got one question for the ranking member, Ranking Member Waters. In a 2008 hearing, you said, quote, "And guess what this liberal will be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing, would be about basically taking over the government and the government running all of your companies," end quote. Simple question, do you stand by that statement?
Simple answer. I am here today in this Rules Committee because we're taking up time with basically a non-issue. First of all, you claim that socialism has engulfed this country, that it keeps creeping, it's going to take over private businesses, et cetera, et cetera. That is not happening. We're in a democracy that we're trying very much to save and to not have disrupted, undermined
So
in the way that...
So then, reclaiming my time, the gentlelady denounces your previous statement then and do not accept that previous statement that you think you would take over these private businesses?
I'm not a socialist. I'm a capitalist. And I commit to you that I am here to save Social Security, to save Medicare, to save seniors and veterans. And for some of you who have adopted certain kind of ways that you support what you now claim is socialism, I'm here to say to you, come on.
So this liberal will be all about socializing, will be all about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies. You disagree with that? You now denounce that statement?
I am not a socialist.
Okay.
All right?
So I appreciate the response. I think that to the extent that one has a concern as a member of this body or as an American watching this, one has concerns when we hear statements like this, and that's not the only one. And statements by some of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle extolling the virtues of socialism. As I just pointed out, a nicer way of compensating businesses, a nicer way of confiscating the assets and the means of production.
Told you exchanging economically illiterate Nancy Pelosi with another economically illiterate Democrat would make no difference. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Hakeem Jeffries.
They want to have a conversation about the future of the American economy. We want to have a conversation about the future of the American economy. We believe our ideas are defensible. Not only are they defensible, they have worked.
Okay, I'm stumped.
Cisco Systems and Cyber Bastion, a diaspora-owned small business, to help save lives and combat COVID-19.
Well, I'm sure that made sense to somebody. Now, this is an administrator at Stanford Law School where Stanford law students shouted down Fifth Circuit Appellate Judge Kyle Duncan while Judge Duncan was trying to speak. When he asked for an administrator to control the situation, Stanford's Associate Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion got up and lectured him for nearly 10 minutes. Here's a little bit of it.
Answer your question. Yeah, and to this room, because you're asking into the room as well. Is that okay?
Associate Dean, what
She doesn't need your question. Is that okay? Because you are also talking to the room. but
You asked for an administrator. She is an administrator.
You just asked for an administrator in here.
Do you want an echo chamber, or do you want someone to hear your
Can I say something, Tim? Is that okay? Is that okay?
So you've invited me to speak here, and I'm being heckled nonstop. And I'm just asking for an administrator to tell me what.
That's an administrator.
Your racism is showing.
Wait,
Respect black women.
if you want a marketplace of ideas, you have gotten what you wanted, take it. Like, do you want an echo chamber? What's the issue?
Can I help?
I guess I have prepared remarks, but
And I want you to be able to.
they're not
I
letting
want
me
you to be
get.
able to get prepared.
Go. Yes, please.
And I had to write something down because I'm so uncomfortable up here. And I don't say that for sympathy. I just say I'm deeply, deeply uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable because this event is tearing at the fabric of this community that I care about and I'm here to support. And I don't know, and I have to ask myself, and I'm not a cynic to ask this, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is this worth it?
Your racism is showing. You're committing a microaggression. I've got to ask myself, is the juice worth the squeeze? And this is an administrator he asked so that he was able to address the crowd, and she lectured him about his racism. Now, there's a term for this. It is liberal fascism. Now, be sure hit that like button because I know you like the show. And make sure you subscribe as well. And scroll down and get on our mailing list because, believe it or not, for reasons that I don't quite understand, from time to time, YouTube has issues with our videos. To make sure you never miss one, get on our mailing list. And you see that donate button? Hit that. Throw a little something in the tip jar to make sure we can still give you hard-hitting, honest programming. Remember, LarryWithEpoch.com, LarryWithEpoch.com. I'm Larry Elder, and this has been the Larry Elder Show for Epoch Times. Remember, we've got a country to save, and I'll see you next time.